Fog curled around Mark's car, swallowing the world in a white abyss. He gripped the steering wheel, his headlights cutting a meager tunnel through the darkness. Mountain air, sharp and cold, seeped in through a crack in the window. He was late, later than he intended, but the mountain road was treacherous at night, even without the fog. Mark shivered, rubbing his arms for warmth. He wished he hadn't taken this shortcut. The road twisted and turned, clinging precariously to the mountainside. He slowed down, peering into the swirling mist, hoping for a sign, a landmark, anything familiar. Then he saw her, a figure shrouded in white, materialized from the fog, standing on the edge of the road. A woman. Her hand was raised, thumb extended in the universal gesture for a ride. Mark hesitated, his foot hovering over the brake pedal. Something about her, the way she just appeared out of nowhere, sent a shiver down his spine. Still, she looked harmless enough, a lone woman on a deserted road. He pulled over, a safe distance away. The woman approached cautiously, her face hidden in the shadows of a large hood. He rolled down the window a fraction, just enough to hear her voice. "Excuse me, sir," she said, her voice a hushed whisper. "Could you possibly give me a lift? My car broke down a few miles back." Mark studied her in the dim light. She was young, maybe early 20s, her face pale and drawn. Her clothes, a long white dress, were torn and muddied. He felt a pang of sympathy mixed with a growing unease. "Get in," he said finally, pushing the lock down. She slid into the passenger seat, bringing a wave of icy air with her. The scent of damp earth filled the car, clinging to her like a shroud. Mark avoided eye contact, focusing on the road ahead. "Thank you so much," she whispered, her voice trembling slightly. "You're a lifesaver." Mark muttered a response, his gaze fixed on the road. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong, terribly wrong. The silence in the car was heavy, broken only by the hum of the engine and the woman's shallow breathing. Mark stole a glance at his passenger. Her head was turned towards the window, her face obscured by the shadows. He turned on the heater, but the car remained cold, the temperature dropping steadily. His breath formed frosty clouds in the air. He rubbed his hands together, trying to ignore the growing chill that seemed to emanate from the woman beside him. "So, where are you headed?" he asked, trying to break the unsettling silence. The woman didn't answer. Mark glanced at her again. Her eyes were closed, her head resting against the window. He cleared his throat, repeating the question. "Did you hear me? I asked where you're going?" The woman slowly turned her head towards him. Her eyes, wide and vacant, stared through him. They were entirely white, devoid of iris or pupil. Mark gasped, his foot slamming on the brake. The car screeched to a halt, tires skidding on the wet asphalt. Mark recoiled from the apparition in the passenger seat, his heart pounding against his ribs. The woman, if she could be called that, leaned towards him, a chilling smile spreading across her pale lips. "I'm going home," she whispered, her voice a hollow rasp. He screamed, scrambling to open the car door. It wouldn't budge. He pulled again, his fingers slipping on the handle. Panic clawed at his throat, choking him. The woman's laughter, cold and brittle, echoed in the confines of the car. She reached out, her hand a translucent white, and placed it on his arm. Her touch was like ice, searing his skin. "You can't leave me now," she whispered, her grip tightening. "You're mine now." The next morning, Mark's car was found abandoned near Dead Man's Curve, the most treacherous bend on the mountain road. The driver's side door was open, the interior of the car ice cold. On the driver's seat, a single bloody handprint marred the leather. Mark was never seen again.